everyone, I'm Lisa Krein, and today on Learn Prelude, we are talking about some repair inquiries. Now, you would use these inquiries in the shop. So I'm going to talk about a couple of repair inquiry screens that are really great resources for both repairs in process and repair history. Now, the first one that we're going to cover is the OSRI screen. That stands for Open Shop Repair Inquiry. This tells you any open orders for a customer. So you type in a customer name or number and it'll show you anything that we're currently working on in our shop for them. Now, the second repair inquiry that we're going to talk about is the MSRI screen. This is the Model Serial Repair Inquiry screen, and it shows you the history of repairs by a certain EIN or serial number for a product. So if there's a certain machine or unit that you want to see the entire repair history for, you could use the MSRI screen to do that. It's all about repair inquiries coming up today on Learn Prelude. Now, here we are in the Prelude system, and I'm going to get to our first repair inquiry, OSRI, using the slash command for it. So I'm going to type slash on my keyboard and OSRI and enter. Now, the Open Shop Repair Inquiry will show you everything that we're working on for a particular customer. So let's say I just want to look at what we're working on internally for White Star Wichita. So I want to look at the Prelude internal account. I can always type that here, Prelude internal. And if you get a list that pops up of all the Prelude internal accounts at your division, just find the one that your location is. I'm looking at the one for White Star Wichita today, so I've selected it in the list and I'm going to hit accept. Now, it's brought up Prelude internal. Now, I can sort if I want to. So if I want to choose from this sort list, I can sort by order number, which is going to default. I can sort by order date. I can sort by the serial number. I can sort by how much the actual ticket is for. So if I want to sort by sales order dollars, it'll show me the ones that are really expensive first. But I'm just going to leave that blank now and hit enter. Now, if you have a ton of orders that you're working on for a customer, you may want to go ahead and filter it, but even our biggest account, Prelude Internal, still doesn't have a ton of orders in it. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at no and hit enter. And now it shows me all the orders that are currently open in our shop in White Star, Wichita that are under Prelude Internal. So I can see that it's sorted by order date with the oldest at the top and the newest at the bottom. I can see that it gives me the model, it gives me the serial number, it gives me the REQ date, which actually defaults on a ticket to the day that you opened the ticket. So usually these are going to go from the oldest at the top to the newest at the bottom. And then I can see the sales order amount in the far right column. So like I said, if I wanted to sort it and see that one of those maybe $4,200 or $4,400 charges, if I wanted it to be at the top and I wanted it to go actually the most expensive to the least expensive, I could always choose sales order amount in that sort field and I could see the most expensive at the top and the least expensive at the bottom. Now, there are a couple of columns I skipped over when I was explaining what those columns were. And those are the N column, the I column, and the CH column. The N column stands for notes. So if there's an asterisk in the N column next to an order, it means that there are notes available for that order. So you may want to go back and read those notes. Now, the second column is an I. The I column means, has it been released for invoicing? As you can see, the very bottom order on this screen has a Y in the I column. That means, yes, it has been released for invoicing. Now, the other thing you might see in this is H. That means that order is on hold for some reason. So you need to maybe talk to your credit manager about why that's on hold. So the only other thing you may see is blank, and that means it hasn't been released for invoicing yet, and it's not on hold for any reason. Now, the last column is CH, stands for credit hold. This is just going to tell you if something is on credit hold or not. So if you see an H in the CH column, it means it's on credit hold. If you see an R in the CH column, it means it's been released for credit hold. So you're good to go. The credit manager has already released this order. Or if it's blank, it means it hasn't gone on credit hold yet, or it's not on credit hold at this point. So again, the N column, you're looking for an asterisk, and that's going to mean notes. The I column, you're either looking for a Y, which means yes, it's been released from invoicing, or an H, which means it's on some kind of hold. And the CH column is a credit hold column. You're looking for either a H, which means it's on hold, or it's R, which means it's been released from hold. If it's blank in any of these columns for the order, it means that none of these affect it. Now, really quickly, before we move on to the MSRI screen, let's talk about the buttons at the bottom. So the first button I want to talk about is the F5 review button. If you want to go in and take a look at the order in an inquiry-only screen, you can select an order from the list and hit F5 review, and it'll just briefly take you into that shop repair order. Now remember, these are shop repairs only, so it's not going to show any parts purchases made at the parts counter or any rentals for this customer. It's only going to show the open shop repairs. So you can go through this screen. You can always move through it down through the lines by hitting the down arrow, moving through screen by screen. You can look at the header screen by hitting the F5 button on your keyboard or by clicking the header screen F5 here. It brings up the header for this order. And you can look at the completion screen if it's already been completed. Maybe we've invoiced them for part of these by hitting F6. In this case, I see that it's a $0 order at this point. So now I'm going to go ahead and escape back to our OSRI screen. The other one that I want to point out is the F8 log button. If you want to look at everything that's been done to an order, the F8 log button will take you into the OLI screen for this order. I do an entire video on OLI, but it's a really great resource. I'm going to go there now for this order. It shows you everything that's happened on this order, who created it, who worked on it, how much time was applied to something, what parts were added, if it was invoiced, how they paid. It's a really great log of everything that's happened. It gives you the person in the system who made the changes. It gives you the time. It tells you the date. It tells you any applicable parts. It's just a fabulous resource. When people call into IT and have us want to look at an order and maybe talk about something that went on, we immediately start at the OLI screen for that order. So if you can get good at reading this screen, it'll be a lifesaver in Prelude. Again, I do an entire video on the OLI screen specifically for shop repair orders, so go back and check that video out. Now I'm going to escape out of here. If you ever wanted to print this list out, you could always go to the Output menu in the top left corner. So when I click Output right now, it asks me, how do I want to see this information? I can absolutely hit print and print a list. Maybe a customer wants to have a take-home copy of everything of theirs that's in the shop right now. If you hit print, it will basically print off everything on this screen. If you hit Excel, it'll take it to Microsoft Excel. Right now, I'm just going to hit the first button that says Screen, and you can see everything on the screen. Again, I can see the order number. I can see if it's on credit hold or if it's been released from invoicing. I can see the model or the product number, what the serial number is, and the sales order dollar amount, how much they're in it for. So this would be a great thing that maybe a customer wants to see everything that you're working on for them. This is a really great way to be able to hand them a take-home copy of that information. So at this point, there's not a whole lot else to the OSRI screen. Just know that it's a fabulous place to go to see all of the open orders for a customer. Now, the second repair inquiry I'm going to show you is the MSRI screen. MSRI stands for Model Serial Repair Inquiry. So we're only going to be looking at one unit. And it's not just going to show the open order right now. It's going to show the entire repair history for that machine or that product. So I'm going to go ahead and type MSRI for Model Serial Repair Inquiry and enter. Now it's asking me for a product. I could type in the product number here. So you could type in the model of the machine, and then you could go down to the serial line and type in the serial number. Or as a shortcut, you can always just type in the 7-digit EIN at that top line, the model code. In this case, I have one written down, 1081114. I can type that in and hit enter, and it will automatically populate the model and the serial number. Now, I also could have typed that serial number in the top line, A3P018919. I could have typed that in the top line where I typed the EIN, and it would still have populated this same information. So my recommendation is, in that product field, go ahead and use the EIN or the serial number, whichever one you have available. It'll be a much easier way to be able to populate the screen. Now, what we're looking at on this screen, again, it looks a little bit like the OSRI screen, but remember, this isn't for a customer, this is for a machine. So I see the order number that the machine has been in on. I see all the order dates. So the order date was the day that the order was started. The invoice date is when it was invoiced. So this is a good idea of how many days it took us to work on this machine. Now, I also see the invoice amount. I see the hours in and the hours out columns, and I see a little bit of a description for what was going on with this machine. Now, there are a lot of $0 invoices because this is a rental machine, so a lot of this is done in-house. Let me show you what this looks like for a customer machine where we actually build it out a little bit more. Now that I'm back at my blank MSRI screen, let me show you what a customer machine looks like, one that's had a lot of repair orders that we actually have billed out. So I'm going to type that's the EIN of the machine I want to look at. And this one shows, you can see that invoice amount is not just $0 all the way across the board because it's not a rental machine. This is an actual customer machine, so we've been billing these jobs out. Now, the $0 invoice, you can always go back and look. That may have been a warranty, that may have been rework. So you can always go back and check what happened on something by clicking it and hitting F5 review. That'll take you back into the ticket. You can see a little bit more information about what was going on. You can drive through it by pushing the down arrow. This one may have been just a field mod because it looks like we drove out and we fixed something. We didn't charge them for it. So you can always, again, look at the header screen. You can look at the completion screen and see how much they paid. And the same thing as before, in this screen you can see the log. Now, you can't see it straight from the MSRI screen. You have to go into F5 review, and then you'll notice that there's an F7 log button down at the bottom. So if you want to be able to get into the OLI screen for this order, you'll have to use that F7 log, and it'll bring up the OLI screen just like it did on the OSRI screen. So again, I'm going to escape back to my MSRI screen. Now, there's a few things you can do here. I talked about the F5 review button. We don't use F6 equipment info. You'll normally go into this and you'll notice it's blank. We do use the F7 serial number history. This actually brings up the SNHI screen, whereas you may be a little bit more familiar with using SSHI. So SNHI is a basic inquiry of this serial number. It gives everything that's ever happened to this unit. In SNHI, it's got the oldest transactions first. So you'll notice that we started back in 2006 with this SNHI screen, and it's got the newest transactions at the bottom. So it goes all the way up until 2013. So if you're using the SSHI screen, it looks almost exactly like this, but the order is reversed. Newest orders are at the top, oldest orders are at the bottom. So this is a really great way to be able to see just a little bit more information about what we've done on this serial number. And in this case, it's not just repair orders. So this SNHI screen lists things like maybe we had to depreciate it. Maybe we capitalized the equipment. It's not necessarily just going to show repair orders in the SSHI or SNHI screen. But in the MSRI screen, we do only see repair orders. It's specific to the shop. So other than that, you can absolutely output this as well. So you can click output. We get the same box. I can print it for my customer if I want to. I can click screen and it'll just show up on the screen. It gives me everything I see behind it in that box. But again, if a customer wanted to see the entire repair history of their machine and they wanted to be able to take it with them, you could always use that output button at the top, hit print, and print a copy for them to take home. I hope you learned a little something about how to use the MSRI and OSRI screen to just view some general repair inquiries in Prelude. OSRI, again, is used for customers and it shows their current orders that we have open in the shop. And MSRI is used for a product or a unit and it shows the entire repair history for that machine, product, or unit. Thanks so much for tuning in to learn Prelude, and have a wonderful day.